Hey everyone, this is Jim Grisanzio. Welcome back to another session of Groundbreakers Live. We are in Chennai, India at Loyola University. This is an engineering school here in Chennai, and I'm here with Abhinav Shroff. Abhinav, welcome.
Thanks, Jim, and nice to meet you again.
Yes, actually, we met I give us about 6 months or so ago in Bangalore.
A few months ago. Yeah.
And you're from Hyderabad.
Yes, I'm from Hyderabad.
And we met in Bangalore and Oracle Code.
Yeah.
Okay. So now Abhinav is on this tour. Are you going to be on all 10 cities?
No, I'm doing 5 cities. So I'll be in Chennai, Bangalore, Hyderabad, Pune, and Gurgaon.
Okay, so I'll be at 6 of them. So I leave after Hyderabad. So yeah, exactly. So okay, so this is the Great Yatra India tour. Okay, the Groundbreakers tour. So you're one of the speakers here. We got about 10 or so, maybe even 12 speakers. Give us a sense of what you're talking about in your session. Let's just start there.
Okay. So my session is about DevOps for serverless. So that basically covers why and how you do DevOps for serverless. When you're using something like Oracle Functions, how do you do DevOps for that application or the functions that you are writing? And also, it also answers certain questions around why would you actually need DevOps for serverless when people say it's only about just one function that you write and you will be able to deploy it. So why do you really need a DevOps platform like Oracle Developer Cloud, which can help you? So I'm product manager for Developer Cloud, and I'm trying to show the value how Developer Cloud could really make life easy when you're really trying to scale your operations around development and you're adopting microservices and then functions later on.
Interesting. Okay. Now we were talking a little bit earlier. You actually mentioned to me that the perception of DevOps around the world is not necessarily uniform, because you not only speak here in India at various conferences and stuff, but you actually travel globally. So let's talk about some of these different perceptions about DevOps globally.
Perception about DevOps changes with people working on different tech stacks. So they perceive DevOps in different ways. Person working on a database, maybe for Oracle database, maybe for MySQL, or anyone, will have a different perception of DevOps because his needs and tools that he uses for DevOps, he or she uses for DevOps, is very different. Similarly, person in Java development or maybe Node.js would really perceive DevOps in a different way. But there are common points, which are the common pillars to DevOps, that do not change, and that's where we come in, and we try to explain to people that these are common pillars that you really need to have if you want to make DevOps successful. It's not that adopting DevOps is just adopting a tool. It also is all about adopting a culture. So a platform or a tool that you select, basically majorly a platform, should be able to stitch in all the tools and also should engrave the culture in your development methodology.
Okay, you mentioned the word culture twice. What do you mean by that?
So it's about, so if you're coming from old school of development where you followed waterfall or you have started to move towards agile and you had all big monolithic applications where you deployed once in a while with low frequency, there you see development. People see developers, DBAs or administrators, QAs, everybody in a different role. They normally don't play as a team every time because everybody has their own responsibilities and they kind of stick around those responsibilities. Now, when you talk about DevOps as a culture, it's more about adopting a culture where people cross over in their responsibilities. People take up and own the feature. It's not that a developer cannot do a deployment. Or it's not that a QA cannot pitch in and see whether the delivery of the application is going fine or not. So from that aspect, there is a little bit of overlap, more ownership coming on people who are involved or are the stakeholders in the development activity. So that's the cultural change that we are talking about here.
Interesting. Okay. Now, so let's stick on the culture theme for a moment here, because we've got about 300 people here, and I noticed in the earlier keynote sessions that a lot of these people are very young. So how is it actually a culture shift for these guys here, or is it more, in terms of the customer base has to make a culture shift? Because these guys are young, so they should have been brought up on Agile and Scrum.
Right. So some of them who are coming right away in the industry, maybe in last 3 or 4 years, have seen Agile, have probably started working on Agile right away. But there's other crowd which is probably managing them. They are team leads, managers, or maybe IT directors here, who have seen the old school as well. So for them, it's a shift. Though even I have like maybe 13 odd years of experience, 13 or 14 years of experience. But I've seen a shift from both the old school style of development, which was waterfall, to maybe Agile. But I saw Agile a little earlier in my career, so it was easier. But the same thing lies for everyone else. So everybody has to, all the stakeholders have to come on board. So if these guys learn the right tenets of DevOps, they understand what change they have to bring in, not just from the tooling perspective, how having platforms like Developer Cloud and right tools in place for build, deploy, CI/CD, other jargons in place could really help them do their development better quality, faster development, and more in scalable form. That will also help them make their superiors or people who are in the higher in the food chain, in the hierarchy, to understand how all this will benefit the organization. So I think that way it really makes sense. Having young people, energetic people, really ready to learn new stuff and adopt new stuff, understand and learn the new technologies which Oracle and open source. So we are going a lot of open source stuff, right? So open source and Oracle technologies coming together, working so well, and they learning about it, and then they going back and becoming like evangelizing bodies for us. They evangelize for us, and they go ahead and talk in their organization. Okay, this looks cool. This kind of development we should do in this way. Maybe we should use Developer Cloud, or maybe we should do Oracle functions. And we should go ahead and do this kind of development, adopt this serverless kind of patterns or microservice kind of patterns and architectures, and then go ahead and implement. And they convince other people in their organization. So that way I see these tools to be really helpful. You can reach the actual development community.
Interesting. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about these actual developers here. We're at a university, so I would imagine, actually I should just ask the question, are a lot of these guys students, or is this a mix of people?
I think it's a mix of people. I think for my session, which just got concluded, I had a mix of crowd where people were working for other companies, for Oracle partners. They are established developers, but they are some are like trying to move their career to DevOps, or some are having a new adoption of DevOps being taking place in their organization, and they are looking forward to how they can do stuff and learn new things about it. So yeah.
Okay, last couple of questions about you, actually. What drives you? You mentioned that you travel around a lot, you do a lot of conferences, and there's different languages and cultures around the world, and different developers. It's hard work, right? I mean, a lot of traveling and stuff. But what drives you? What do you find so interesting in this field and actually doing this particular function within this field?
So my motivation factor or driving factor here is that I get to meet a lot of developers, a big developer community all across globe. I see different perceptions coming out of it, different developer perceptions on DevOps. See, I evangelize DevOps with Developer Cloud. So I see a lot of new perceptions about DevOps coming into play, like people come up with their perceptions, their understanding. So at times it helps me understand what people are looking forward to. This helps us build the product better back in Oracle. Also, it also helps sometimes that people might have a perception, but maybe, and they are looking for an approach to materialize. So that way I can help them, probably lend my helping hand on how to implement DevOps right, what should be their approach, how probably our tools and platforms could help them, or what should be the starting point at times. So yeah, giving them the starting point and approach really makes me feel good, and letting them and seeing them succeed in their journey in DevOps is really a driving factor there.
Cool, great. Thank you very much, Abhinav, and we will see you. What's next? Bangalore is next, yes. Right? And it's tomorrow. so we wrap up here today. We fly tonight, and we do it all again in Bangalore tomorrow. So okay, well. Bengaluru? Well, no, I mean, I've always been... What's that?
Still catching up with the name, but yeah, it's Bengaluru.
But I see lots of people saying Bangalore, too.
People say both the names.
Okay, good. All right, well, okay. Chennai. We're here in Chennai, India. Thanks, guys. We'll see you guys soon. Bye-bye.